Matt is going to get started in 1 second here. I'm excited to see this one. It's actually a topic we've never really covered specifically, so should be lots of new information. I think Sean is also here. If you guys have questions, he'll be answering questions for you. And it's all you, Matt.
Great. Thanks, Shauna. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite topics. It's definitely good to see, when I'm looking at races that they put some time and effort into their FAQ page. So we're going to go over some, best practices, tips and tricks to help, race directors save time with these resources. That way you can focus more on, race day or whatever other things that you need to do rather than handling participant questions. I'm Matt. I'm an account manager at RunSignup, and we're going to go over ways to, be more efficient with your race. And so that does require you to spend a little bit of time up front, but you're going to save a lot of time in the end. We're going to go over how to add that to your website, how to communicate that with your email communications. Let us do the heavy lifting for you since we have all of these resources. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And then we'll go over some creative solutions. So it's fairly quick and straightforward. So we should have time for hopefully some frequently asked questions from the audience. So again, a little bit of work goes a long way. You want to answer things once because there is a correct answer to things. So you can provide that correct answer and even have participants be able to self-serve that information, because participants are looking for self-serve management. So if you give them the opportunity, then they can oftentimes, answer their own questions to get what they wanted to do. So we're going to go through how to do that, and you can easily then, reuse that to copy and paste questions that come in to your email or to your Facebook or whatever type of social media that you're communicating with. So some recommendations for efficiency is make a list of questions that you actually expect to get. No one wants to read through a very long list of stuff that isn't very pertinent. So you can go through, previous years, look at, with your team, what kind of question kind of rose to the top the most. And also continually add to your FAQ page as things change, especially with the pandemic last year. There's definitely a lot new things that you are offering to your participants. So there's definitely a lot more questions with that. So if you're continuing with the hybrid approach, then you should be able to kind of split your FAQ content into the virtual experience or the in-person experience. And then use our existing resources. So we have our own help guide or our portal at help.runsignup.com. So use those to provide solutions, whenever possible, because a lot of times there's a quick video or written instructions and screenshots to really get participants where they need to go. And you can also create your own resource. So, make your own video or something. So I've seen a couple of timers that have their own video walking through registration or showing how to use the check-in app, and they can easily just share that or, get people excited, post it on social media. You can even incorporate sponsors into stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff if you get creative with it. So let's go over the website. Since your website works for you 24/7, when you're asleep or you're on the course or you're doing whatever, your website can still answer questions for people. So it's all about the FAQ page. So you want to add this. Again, this is from your race tab under race website, and you're in your custom sections. So you can add a single custom section and name it FAQ and then build out the content. Or you can create multiple different sections to kind of layer it with a video. Layer it with your menu to add different stuff. I do have a step-by-step crash course video walkthrough that I'll share with the slides to actually physically walk you through that. But in the interest of time for this presentation, we're just going to kind of go over the content. So you want to create the content in the custom section, and then right underneath that is your custom content display. That's where you can get to promote those sections to your top level menu, or if you want to create submenus, that's where you would do that. And then you can adjust the menu order page to kind of get your horizontal navigation at the top. You can make that FAQ page generally in the top right. That's where most people are looking for, just like you'd log in toward the top right of a page, the menu generally goes for priority, and that FAQ page looks nice right on the far right of the menu. You also add a cover page to your race. There's a quick call out. There's lots of different content sections there, calling out your FAQ, calling out your sponsor, calling out your charity partner. Those are all good custom sections you can add to there. So again, where do users look for help? Generally in the top right of the page, you'll see here is an example of the menu from my Vancouver Trail Run. It's got the FAQs page right there on the menu. You can also find, via contact us form. So you can add links to that that generally lists on the race info page. So if you haven't added a cover page, that'll be there, or you can link to that contact form, from your cover page as well. So you want to keep it simple and you want to keep it up to date, because again, you want to get the most important questions at the top. But again, if those quick questions aren't there, every question is not a frequently asked question. So there are some unique questions that people would generally communicate to you, but the frequent ones are the ones you want to put on here. So make sure you keep it simple. And then one other tip is, if you do have that hybrid race, split your content up into frequently asked questions for the hybrid version, the in-person packet pickup details, or the virtual, like what to expect for shipping, things like that. So we also want to communicate, whenever we're communicating with our participants, we want to give them, where the information is. So you've all attended our symposium. You saw that every day we were giving you the direct link to the presentation, so you know exactly where to go no matter what. So you'll do the same thing. So email communications come from the confirmation email. You can start there, like, hey, what to expect? You've just registered. Here's what to expect next. So that's always a good thing to add into your confirmation email. We default to a lot of information on how to manage their registration, directions. So there's a lot of good default content in the confirmation email, but you can also highlight, whatever you need to do for what's coming next. The giveaway details is something that people are generally excited about. So you can, let them know about any particular questions of their swag, things of that nature, like what the sizes are, how to change their sizes, whatever you want to do. You can link that in there, or you can link to your FAQ page and keep that swag information near the top. We also have an automated email, which is the registration follow-up email. The default template of this, it is very generic. It just says, hey, stay tuned for updates. And you really want to specify and customize this email depending on the type of race that you have. So if you are, general, in-person race, or you're just a social event, you want to encourage social sharing, your referral program, things of that nature. If you are a nonprofit, your Run Walk Wide is very fundraiser focused. That follow-up email should encourage them to continue fundraising, show what other people are doing to help raise funds, what people are raising money for, and how your charity has impacted the local community. Those are always ways to, basically give your own drip campaign 3 days, 7 days out to constantly follow up with them. And so you can schedule these ahead of time. And so no matter who registers, you can give them, 3 days later, here's what to expect, based off of what you want for your event. And you want to make it high level. So people are going to read the Cliff Notes. Everybody's probably skipped on a book report and read the Cliff Notes. The same thing. People just want to, like, what are the 3 bullet points? And if I really want to know all details, then I can link with full information. So you don't want to overdo it. If people are going to skim over, a long list of information, they're not going to really read it. So just give them the key points and even highlight it, make it bold red, like this is what you need to know. So you can schedule emails ahead of time, just like that automated email. You can schedule, your whole marketing campaign ahead of time. So even before you launch the race, you can say, hey, this email is going out August 1st. This email is going out 2 days before the race, and get all the information that you need with that information. You'll see here on the right-hand side in the image, the very bottom, it gives them packet pickup. You have questions on packet pickup, click here for the full details. You got more questions, click here. So it's very simple. And this email is all about, what to expect for their shirts, what to expect for the socks that they have, and then what to do for packet pickup. I've even seen timers, use our replacement tags for dynamic content. So 2 days prior to the race, you're getting an email. Hey, make sure this is your correct spelling of your name. This is your correct age. This is your gender. So that way the results are going to be correct and there's no confusion on it. There's no complaints of like, oh, my name was misspelled correctly. And, it's funny, but they actually registered that way. So they typed their own information in incorrectly. But this is a way to catch it, before it actually becomes an issue with results and things like that. So this is all schedulable ahead of time, and you want to get in front of different things like that, like where to go on race day. Hey, we have a solutions tent that's going to be over here if you need anything specific, XYZ. So, and we have all these resources here, so let us do the work for you. This is our how-to portal, help.runsignup.com. Right at the very top, You can type in a keyword, whatever you're looking for, coupon, transfer, anything like that. And you'll notice underneath the search area, there's broken up into different modules. So we have the tutorials for directors, which is going to be all about the back end of the dashboard and how to turn on all these features. The tutorials for runners, which is basically any participant in the race, what can they do to manage it? How do they join a team? How do they change their shirt size? Stuff like that. And then the tutorials for all users, that's basically like account and profile type of information. So if there's ever having trouble like logging in, resetting their password, stuff like that, that's where you'll find it under tutorials for all users, or you can just search the word password and it'll come up. Also, when you guys are working on the back end, every single menu button has a help button in the top right side. So there's an orange little help button. So you're looking at the page, you think you got it set up right. You can go and it'll direct you right to the director tutorial for that specific page. So if you're working late at night or over the weekend and you just need a quick answer, check there first. But if you're having trouble finding out exactly what you want, on this how-to page on the top right, there's this plus button, and you can open up a support ticket and email our support team with any questions that you have. So we'll kind of dive into navigating the help portal, and this is going to be how you can find the guides that you need for your race so you don't have to reinvent the wheel if you don't need to. So again, we talked about the tutorials for runners. This is pretty much where the FAQs, the bulk of them are going to be, is in that section. Browse through the registration guides because there's a couple different pages on there because there's a lot of different things that the runners can do, and we've completely segmented them into small bite-sized bits. So you can update your shirt size, update an add-on. Like it's kind of the same thing, but they're technically different. So we've split those up into different guides there. And also remember to turn on the associated setting. Most of the participant management features are off by default. You as the race have the choice to turn that on. So, sending somebody a guide, here's how you update your shirt size, and then you didn't actually turn that participant management feature on, they're not going to be able to accomplish it. So make sure you do that as well. We also have guides that are specific to donations and fundraising. So the overall generic guide, definitely look through that to make sure that you can make your supporters, empowered to raise the most money, use all of the bells and whistles of the features to, connect to their Facebook fundraiser, how to manage their page, how to upload pictures and stuff, and how to share it. So those are always really good sections to look through when you're building your FAQ page. And all you got to do is just copy the link and right over to our page. So what can participants manage? So in the top area here, this is the upcoming races list. So it's a little snippet of your profile. So what you should always do is you should always register for your own race to go through that registration process. And then that'll let you look at your profile and see your upcoming races. And you'll see the links. Whoops, I skipped ahead with my mouse here. You'll see the links on the right-hand side that you can manage the registration. It's very easy for them to resend the confirmation email, and there's a button there to contact the race or view other information. And so the manage registration option, anything that's going to be there is what you've enabled at the race. So again, most settings are default, so you got to turn those on, whatever you want to do. So if you're tired of answering, hey, I chose a medium shirt, but I need a large. Can you update my size? That's where you would turn it on to allow them to self-manage that size. And you can do the cutoff dates because you have to place a t-shirt order. So anybody can change their size or make an event transfer until whatever date that you want to choose. So the other option here is in the screen on the right is a new setting that we have. If somebody's logged in, which most people, is just like Facebook. Once you log in and register on RunSignup, you typically stay logged in. So it's very easy when you click on the next race, you get that pop up and you just select your own name and it's already pre-filled information out. So if I'm already logged in and I go to the race website, when I click that profile icon in the very top right, one of those menu options is going to be my registrations, which is then going to bring me back to the top screen right there. So it's very kind of intuitive for users to quickly find that information. So let's go over some creative solutions. So here's an example FAQ tab. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl, the Crescent City Classic. They have, under their participant info, they've kind of nested their FAQ page there because they're putting a lot of different information in there. that participants are looking for. And so they felt like this was a great way to do it. So that's using that menu, that custom menu options, and changing the display of where that custom content is. And they basically listed out the registration FAQs and things that they can do to manage. And they just made a nice simple bullet list that links directly to our help guide. And so as you're looking through the list, you're like, yes, I need to resend my confirmation email. How do I do that? I click that link and it walks them right through how to do that. So that's a really good example here. The next example is what you can do with that content to just kind of like make it stand out and like brand it further. And so you can categorize, different sections. So this is an example of running FAQs. The theme, is a very red colored theme. So they've brought that red as part of the font to really quickly say, okay, what do I need to do? Virtual run, submit my time. I can really quickly, as my eyes go through it, find the information I want and then read the associated like response to whatever the question is. So this is really cool to have very simple, clear communication, about the race, whatever questions that you're getting. And you can break it up into different modules. So you can have, running questions, packet pickup questions, swag questions, virtual questions, things like that. So it's very easy and digestible for the user. And definitely add a cover page component because your website works for you 24/7. Adding a content section, people are always asking like, well, what should I add to my cover page? Highlight your charity, highlight, your sponsors. The FAQ page is also something as you're scrolling through, here's a little play on the whole like Got Milk campaign. This is just a very simple black button on a black background with white font. So it makes it very, very, if it goes with the race, you just click that information and that redirects the person to that FAQ content page. So if you have your own website and you have, your content on your own website, you could link to your own website instead of the RunSignup page if you needed to. And this also further helps, brand your race, whatever kind of color scheme that you want to do. And then the last thing to do is, build your own FAQ. Actual like screenshots demonstrating, walking them through, creating a fundraiser, stuff like that. Because this is great because it gives you the opportunity to test the registration process. First, make sure that, you're collecting the information that you need for your participants, that it's very simple and easy and straightforward. And then you can take screenshots of that process to brand your color scheme, the logos, the race and things like that. Just make sure that, it's always fake personal, there's no real personal data when you're doing stuff like that. So you can make a video of the registration process to see how quickly it is to do it, especially if you have a fundraising race. Here's how easy it is to create your fundraiser. Here's how it is to join a team, and you're off to the races basically. So lots of different options you can do depending on, what level you want to take your frequently asked questions page. So that's pretty much all I had here. Does anybody have any questions on the content that we covered today?
I do not see any questions.
Awesome. That's how we like it.
Yeah, very clear presentation, Matt. Loved it.
Good stuff. Well, if anybody didn't feel like asking any questions into the chat, we're happy to help answer any questions. info@runsignup.com. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Matt. We are back in, I guess, 12 minutes. Be back at 4 o'clock with Eric to talk about, your hybrid race setup and what that means kind of moving into the future past virtual. So we will see you at 4 o'clock Eastern. Thanks.
Thanks.